What's going on, guys? Long work day, productive though. I am headed home for a 4-day weekend. I'm going to try to get some online training done with Ford this weekend, or over the next 4 days. Get caught up on all my master certs and stuff like that. Some of the things are about to expire, a couple of things that have expired. They give you a warning, and then you don't lose your cert, but you got to get online and tidy up on any loose classes or anything like that you may end up having to do. So I got to get on there and get that stuff tidied up. Recently we've been doing these 22S36 under hood fire recalls with the 21 Navigators and Expeditions, and I have probably about 8 or 9 of them under my belt already over the last 2 weeks. And the concern that I'm seeing is the amount of water in the fuse boxes that I have seen in the last couple of these wiring harness fuse box deals that I've had to do. I go to pull the fuse boxes and stuff apart, and I get the upper half disconnected from the lower half, and I see water pooling in the bottom of the fuse box. Now, the reason we're doing these under hood fire recalls is we are taking the relay for the fan circuit and the 25 amp fuse out of the fuse box, and we are updating them with their own standalone little box. It's a small box. It's about 3 inches long, maybe 4 inches long by 2.5, 3 inches wide, and it has its own relay and fuse in it. And there is a really thick purple wire that we have to run along the harness that runs along the fan shroud and stuff. There is a solid white wire that's a smaller gauge wire, 14 to 16 gauge, something like that, I think. Maybe 16 to 18 gauge, it's small. And then there is a white and blue traced wire, also same size as the other small one. And basically what we have to do is we have to split the upper half of the fuse box from the lower half of the fuse box, and we have to take the big connector out of it and disable one wire, one big wire that's in it, and then splice into the brown wire, and we basically piggyback upper and lower half with a butt connector, run the purple wire into it, and then there's a gray wire in that big black connector as well that we have to split, and then run the white and blue traced wire to it. And then there's a smaller connector in the middle of that fuse box where we have to pull a blue and white traced wire out of that one and splice in with butt connectors and heat shrink a solid white wire that goes into the standalone harness for the fan. And then we unplug the connector for the driver's side fan, and there's a yellow and red wire that goes to it. You pull it out of there, you disable it, cut it back into the harness, tape it up, and there's a new wire that you plug into its spot that is run in the new updated harness and little standalone fuse box for the fan circuit. Every time I've pulled one of these boxes apart, I've noticed water in the bottom of the boxes. Now, I asked my coworker if he experienced the same thing, and he said, nah, not so much, not all the ones he did. And my other coworker, I asked him, I said, out of the ones that you've done, have you noticed that there's water in the bottom of the fuse boxes? And he said, oh yeah, some of them really bad. This is probably 80% of these vehicles, and our shop's probably done about 60 to 65 of these under hood fires with the 21 Navigator and 21 Expedition over the last 2-3 weeks. And I would probably say 75% of them had some kind of water in the bottom of that fuse box. Now, these connectors are sealed connectors. My concern is there's no drain in that fuse box for that water to get out of there unless it needs to go up so high to spill over the wires that go into the bottom of the fuse box, the holes, the slots that are there for the 3 harness connectors to run through. It has to get so high in that fuse box before it can run out of there. And that's just a moisture haven inside that fuse box. It's just going to cause all kinds of problems. And I noticed on the vehicle today, because it's been raining real bad over the last 24 hours, I could see the water track of where it was going. It was going off of the... So the water track was going off of the passenger side cowl, down the plastic, and then spilling off to the side before it gets to the fender. And you can see all the water, like track marks and dirt that had been running off the window and stuff down in that area, right to the top of the fuse box. That's a little bit of a concern for me. The fact that this may become a problem in the future, especially with that water collecting in that area. The other thing is, I've been noticing a lot of 21 F150s and Expeditions with battery issues. A lot of low voltage codes in the system. One guy had his 21 F150 towed in, could not get it to start, put a jump pack and everything else on it, could not get it to start, got it to the dealership. A load tested the battery tested bad. So no wonder why he couldn't jump start it with his little jump starter that he had, but we could from the parking lot in with our bigger high power jump starters. Our general manager at the dealership, he had the same thing, similar problem. 21 F150, he was out with his family and stuff like that. And just out of nowhere, he said, I went out to start the vehicle. We were going to go out to dinner. It was like dinner or something like that. And nothing. No power, no nothing. I tried to jump start it. Then he said that the dash would come on, but it just wouldn't do anything at all. Had that truck towed back to the dealership, that battery was also bad. That's odd. Then we get... It was a customer or somebody called today and said either he was having his Expedition or his F-150 towed in, and I was there overhearing the conversation. And I said, you know, this is weird that so many of these Expedition and F-150 batteries are coming up bad, and they've only got 5, 10, 15, 20,000 miles on these vehicles. I mean, a lot of them are around 10,000 miles or lower, and they already have bad batteries. And I remember, wait a second, I was just working on a 22 Navigator, a black label, $115,000 to $130,000 vehicle. I mean, this is the most prestigious vehicle that you can buy in an SUV line from Ford. Black label Navigator, 22 with 3,000 miles, 5,000 miles on it. And the computer was giving me a warning when I was going through programming the gateway module on this thing. It picked up the fact that it had 12.6 volts with the battery charger on it, but it gave me a warning message on the bottom that said you need at least 80% state of health or better. And the computer's detecting 59% state of health. That's with the lights off, no accessories running, no nothing. This vehicle's brand new. It came over for updates from a magazine review company. A company that does reviews on these vehicles, takes them off-road, the racetrack, everything else. This vehicle is literally brand new. And it was giving me a warning saying, are you sure you want to continue with programming? Because we're only seeing 59% state of health. I just can't believe the amount of new vehicles that I'm seeing right now with battery voltage issues. A lot of the SUVs and the trucks, the bigger ones that are coming in, a lot of battery voltage issues, low voltage issues stored in the computer. Some of these for months. The 2021 Expedition, the Platinum Expedition that I just had to do the Better Business Bureau and Ford Service Engineer inspection. There was like a list of like 11 things that were bothering this lady that owns this thing, and she wanted to go through the process of having them buy it back, but we weren't aware other than one issue that was addressed that she had concerns. She never explained it to us. So me and the field service engineer, we had done all our work, verifying everything, fixing everything throughout the day, working hand in hand together. And I was like, you know what? Let me check the vehicle health report. Let me check the vehicle history, because the Ford Pass app is registered to her. So that means over the last couple months that she's owned this, there has to be stored codes if there's other things going on. Like she was saying the module was acting up, certain features were disabling out of nowhere. Sure enough, I go in the vehicle history of what's been happening over the last 2 months, and I see probably 40 different cases in a 60-day period where low system voltage has been being set in this computer system over and over and over and over and over again. Nobody caught that. None of the other dealers that she had it to had thought to look in her vehicle health report. The FSE from Ford didn't think about looking in the vehicle health report. I found it. I went and I tested the battery. It said 100% health on the load tester through the Rotundo. And then I reset the battery monitor. And it just quit doing it. I went over the last couple days to look at her vehicle health report to get an update on what's been going on since I reset that. Not a single low voltage code has been set since I reset that battery monitor, and not a single system has come offline since I reset that. I think a lot of these vehicles have sat for so long before being sold because of the chip shortage and everything else, and production issues, that a lot of these vehicles we're going to have to go into and reset the battery monitor system, because the vehicle has found a stagnant state of charge and health that it doesn't know what to do with itself because it's been sitting or stagnant for so long. It's a concern. And I think a new battery possibly, but definitely resetting the BMR. Key on, push button and key. Key on, flash the brights 5 times, tap the brake 3 times. On the 3rd time, release it. Don't hold it like some people are doing. I don't know where they got that from. I never said that. So again, key on or push button on. Do not start the vehicle. Flash the bright 5 times, tap the brake 3 times. Wait about 10 to 15 seconds. The battery light will start flashing. That's how you reset the battery monitor system in these newer vehicles. Did I say BMR? BMS. BMS is what I mean. So, just wanted to share that with you guys. Y'all be blessed. I'm off the next 4 days, so you'll probably see a little bit more of me than you normally would. I hope that's okay. I got to take care of some things at the house. The electrician has to come out. I got to run new wires and stuff for a light that I'm putting in the living room. I'm going to be busy, but you'll see me. Y'all take care. Have a good night.